Right, you lot, let's talk Villa, and today it is my 2023 to 2024 Aston Villa tier list video. You can see we've got S tier, the top tier, the ultimate tier, brilliant, good, decent, and sell as our tiers. Now, I could put every single player in S tier this season because ultimately we qualified for the Champions League. We had an amazing season, but I'm going to be really pernickety and really harsh on some of these players to make it a more balanced video and to create a bit more of a discussion for you guys down below. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to get straight into it. So leave a like, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. You can see we've got all of the players here. I've pretty much got everyone that's played a considerable amount of minutes for us this season and a couple of the young players that are coming through. Let's go. Let's get straight into it. No editing. Let's just get into it. First of all, Emi Martinez goes straight in my S tier. The first player straight in there. Look, Emi Martinez for us is more than just his statistics. He played 47 times for Villa this season across all competitions, and he personifies the push that Villa are having to be one of the best clubs in England, to be competing in Europe. His attitude, his behaviour, the way he's a leader, you can tell on and off the pitch. And he has put in some absolutely spellbinding performances. The one that instantly springs to mind is obviously that Lille penalty shootout, but he's made so many other saves this season that he just shouldn't have been making. No right. And I think he was the best keeper in terms of goals prevented, that stat in the Premier League this season, so he goes straight in there. Made a lot of pundits teams of the season as well. Next up is Robin Olsen, and he goes in sell. I understand he had a decent game against Brighton, but he's just conceded so many goals for Villa, and it's time for him to go. Next up, Philip Marshall played one game for us in the Europa Conference League. I think it was the last game of the group, if I remember rightly. Conceded a goal. He was all right. Went out on loan to Milton Keynes Dons after that. It was all right. Next up, Seb Ravan again played 90 minutes for us, I think in the second qualifying leg, if I am not mistaken, against Hibernian. Again, a decent player, decent young player. Went out on loan to Rotherham, where it's kind of worked, kind of didn't. But, didn't set the world alight. Next up is Luca Digne. I'm going to put Luca Digne in good. I think at the start of the season, he played really, really well. If I get his stats up here, I've got a little cheat sheet. Played for Villa 46 times this season, getting 6 assists and 2 goals. I think all of those 6 assists genuinely might have been in his first 10 games this season. Kind of fell off towards the end. I think he put in a lot of lazy performances towards the end of the season for me, which just knocks him down from the brilliant tier. But him saying, another one, goes straight in S tier for me. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Next up, Alex Moreno, and another player that just goes in good for me. Played 29 games this season, getting 3 goals and no assists for Villa. Not been the same player since he's come back from injury, and I think one of these two players is going to be sold to comply with FFP this summer. But down the left-hand side of defence for Villa, and again, we were very leaky this season. It's just been a bit hard to watch. Next up is Matty Cash, and I'm going to be ultra harsh on this one. Yes, he did play 46 times for Villa, scoring 5 goals and 3 assists as well in the space of those games. 2 of those goals were very, very important. You think of Middlesbrough in the FA Cup and Lille in the Conference League. Both of those were deflected though, so how much can you actually credit him for them? And I just think his time at Villa's up for me. I mean, if there was genuinely, go on Google right now and do this live with me in the video. Go on Google and type in Guinness World Book of Records, the most times Cruyff turned whilst in a dangerous crossing position, and Matty Cash legitimately comes up. Go and do it and let me know in the comments down below that it's actually true, because I know it is. And for me, just not really the one. Kane Kessler-Hayden goes in decent, came back in from loan early to cover injury, and I thought performed okay when he was called upon later on in the season, but didn't really set the world alight. Tyrone Mings goes in decent, played 24 minutes this season, obviously before getting injured against Newcastle, and I'm sure he will come back stronger. Clement Longley is another one that goes in decent for me. Had good spells, but also had bad spells. How many games did he manage for Villa this season? He managed 25 games, getting 1 assist. And like I say, just didn't particularly set the world alight for me. And then we move on. Diego Carlos, I'm going to put in good. He had a couple of dodgy performances, and his passing wasn't all there. He played 38 games for Villa this season, getting a goal and an assist. good performances, put in some really good performances against the likes of Arsenal, where he picked up 2 man of the matches against them both times, but not good enough for me to go into that brilliant tier. And then Finley Monroe, decent, one for the future, not one for right now, but looked good when he came in towards the end of the season. Ezri Konsa, for me, goes in S tier. He is almost an ever-present for Villa this season. If I go to my cheat sheet here, 50 games, getting that 1 goal. Was it a cross? Doesn't matter. He crossed it and it went in, so it's going to count as his. I think he was like the second best one-on-one defender for not being dribbled past and tackles in one-on-one situations, only behind Virgil van Dijk this season for Liverpool. And like I say, ever-present, almost like a second captain for Villa. And that's, again, his impact this season, I think, has gone beyond the pitch, much like Emi Martinez. I think he was fantastic. Pau Torres goes in brilliant for me. Couple of dodgy games here and there, but he's transformed our defence, the way we play out of defence. Played 39 games this season, getting 2 goals and an assist. His progressive passes and progressive pass distance and percentages were out of this world. Starts things from the back. You can tell why Emery signed him. Really, really good for me. Callum Chambers goes in sell. I don't think I need to say more than that. Douglas Luiz would have gone in S tier for me, but only makes brilliant purely because of the fall off that he had after the next man, Boubacar Kamara, got injured. Couldn't really recapture his form of like the start of the season. His stats, don't get me wrong, still good. 10 goals and 10 assists in all competitions, but just under S tier for me. And Kamara, again, goes in good. Had some really standout performances this season for me. The Man City games highlighted that, the first one. But just statistically wise, I think what did he get? 1 goal and no assist this season, I think it was. 1 goal, 1 assist in 30 games. The Brentford sending off for me was just too silly as well. We had no need to do that. So he goes in good. But definitely what he does to allow Douglas Luiz to go forward when he does play is not understated in my mind. John McGinn goes in brilliant, just short of S tier, just purely because of, again, the Tottenham incident, getting a red card when it really, really mattered and we needed him. Some games I feel like he can look a little bit lost. He got 9 goals and 7 assists this season, which is good for him. Again, 53 games and ever present, being our captain. But just short of S for me. I feel like there was, if you were to look at our team and look at it objectively and not go on merit and the fact he's our captain and what he means for the club and his personality, of that midfield, he's probably one of the first ones that people would drop if we could get a better signing in. I think that's just being honest. Sometimes, like I say, he can just get lost in games. For me, Dendoncker goes in sell. Don't want Dendonckey anywhere near my club anymore. And Yuri Tielemans, for me, goes in brilliant right next to John McGinn. At the start of the season, I really didn't rate Yuri Tielemans. And if I find his stats here, 3 goals and 7 assists in 46 games, his turnaround to go to one of the most important players in this Villa team in the second half of the season is incredible. His work rate, his distance covered, his passing towards the end of the season was pinpoint. It was almost like watching, I was going to say a Belgian De Bruyne, but he is from Belgium. It's like watching a budget De Bruyne, and being a budget De Bruyne is better than being a John McGinn sometimes, in terms of passing accuracy anyway. And again, everyone was looking for his name on the team sheet towards the end of the season, and that for me is the sign of a good player. Tim Arogmanam, I'm going to put... this one's a hard one. I'm going to put him in decent. A couple of sloppy mistakes from him, but it is his first time in the Premier League playing a consistent amount of games. This season, he managed 15 games in the league, a total minutes of 287, so he's just starting to break through, isn't he? And I think he has the potential to be on the level of a Kamara. Zaniolo, I would put him in sell because I don't want his loan to be extended. It's clearly not being extended, but for the goals that he did score against the likes of Sheffield United and West Ham, those crucial equalisers, he goes in decent for me. Had a great performance in the second game against Arsenal as well, but apart from that, he looked lost in every game and just didn't look like he could offer Villa anything. Bertrand Traore actually did manage, I think it was 6 games for us, 41 minutes. He's in there because I couldn't take him out. He goes in sell. Obviously, I think we already have sold him. Coutinho, sell. Only managed 20 minutes or so this season and just looks a shell of his former player. Amari Kellyman goes in decent. Our Scholar Player of the Year, or like Academy Player of the Year. He is going to have a big future in world football. He's looked very composed when he has come on and been called upon. For Villa, he managed 6 games, getting an assist, 148 minutes. He's clearly one that Emery sees as one for the future. Jacob Ramsey, I'm going to put in decent. Again, injury-ridden season. If I go back to my little cheat sheet, stats sheet here, 21 games, getting a goal and 2 assists. Good goal against Brighton as well. But injuries have just plagued him, and I hope he can get back to the level that he once was. With FFP being an issue, though, is he even going to be at Aston Villa next season? Question. Answer it down in the comments below. Tommy O'Reilly. Is it Tommy O'Reilly? Yes, it is. Again, decent. Didn't really manage that many minutes for Villa this season. Obviously, a young player coming through. One for the future, I am sure. Emi Buendia, again, he didn't play for us at all this season, so he's going to go in decent. He's just in there because, again, I can't get rid of him. I don't know how to use tier lists. This is my first one. Bear with me, guys. Moussa Diaby, I'm going to put in good, just short of brilliant. I think he had a really good couple of spells for Villa this season. His final stats, if I get them up here, 54 games, 10 goals and 9 assists. I think when you come in with the price tag that he has, above 50 million euros, you expect him perhaps to just hit the ground running a bit quicker. But again, he's 24 years of age. It's his first season in the Premier League. There's going to be plenty more to come from him. He has shown flashes of brilliance in this season, especially I think he picked up our March Player of the Month award. Won the most Tim Pot trophy I've ever seen. It was like the hardest goal of the season award for one of his goals. It's just random. I don't even know why that's a thing. But again, just shy of brilliant for me. He just needs to be a bit more consistent. Morgan Rogers, however, for me, and again, I'm just basing this off of the games that he did play for the club, goes straight into S tier. I absolutely fell in love with him as a player. He was so important to us, and then when he got injured, you could feel like the hearts of Villa fans drops. This season, if I get his stats up here, 16 games, 3 goals and 1 assist. Took him a little while to get bedded in, and then he was one of the first names on Emery's team sheet. It was the first name that Villa fans were looking for to be on there. Became like this kind of like cult thing. Everyone wanted Rodgers. He's playing so well. The way he progresses the ball, the way he was scoring left, right and centre. Such a shame that he got injured, but I'm so looking forward to him being back next season. Caden Young goes in decent, again, a couple of minutes as a young player. Leon Bailey goes in S tier for me. Absolutely amazing season. His final stats for this season being 14 goals and 14 assists. I think he made it in the Europa Conference League team of the season. One of the most important players for me in terms of the fact that he was the only player really for a long spell of games when everyone else was looking leggy, that he got the ball and he just drives. He's so direct to defenders. His confidence is there. Everyone just gets excited when he's on the ball, and he personifies what Aston Villa is at the moment. We are exciting. Next up, Ollie Watkins, Player of the Season, goes straight in S tier. No ifs, ands, buts or maybes. He can go right to the top if I can manage it. Can I swap them two round? Yeah, swap him round that way. There you go. Ollie Watkins, Player of the Season, 19 goals and 12 assists in the Premier League. Nothing more needs to be said. And then John Jada Duran goes in good for me. I think, that Liverpool game really was the icing on the cake. But a good amount of stats for him, a really, really high percentile per 90. I've done videos on it in the past. And a player definitely to look out for in the future. I think he has all the attributes to be a star. So in recap, 6 players in sell, 5 players in S tier. My Player of the Season is Ollie Watkins, hands down, shortly followed probably by Leon Bailey, Konsa, Martinez, then Rodgers. I thought brilliant this season. Pau Torres, if he didn't have that fall off, Douglas Luiz would have easily been in S tier. John McGinn and Yuri Tielemans. In my good tier this season is Digne, Moreno, Diego Carlos, Kamara, who I think could have been bumped up to brilliant again if it wasn't for injuries and that red card, Diaby and John Duran. A lot of decent players this season through no fault of their own. They just weren't really involved as heavily as the other players. And you can tell all the players that were involved this season I thought were very, very good. And then a few in the sell as well. I'm sure it's sure to ruffle a few feathers. Leave your comments down below. That is my Aston Villa 23-24 tier list. I'll see you guys soon. Up the Villa. And of course, all the boys were brilliant. We got Champions League. I can't complain.